Welcome back to SnowRunner, guys, and today we're going to be talking about a new vehicle that could very well potentially be coming to the game in one of the near future updates. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump right into the video and I'll explain everything about this truck. Now, before we get too far into the video, I want to thank my moderator, Diesel Addict 66, for actually making me aware of the video that was posted recently by a member of the SnowRunner community. His name is EdgeRunner Cold, and he was the first person to break this news. Now, out of respect for him, I will not be showing the actual recorded gameplay that he has of this truck. I'll actually leave a link to his video in the description box down below where he actually shows legitimate gameplay of this truck, but I will be showing just a couple of screen grabs from his video here and there. But again, if you want to watch the actual gameplay that he got of this truck, again, I'll leave a link to that down in the description box below. So to start this video, we're going to actually have to go back to the SnowRunner Season 1 overview trailer, and the reason why I say we'll have to go back to that and start there is because the dashboard of a Chevrolet Apache was shown in that trailer, and I remember watching that trailer and thinking to myself, why is that there? We haven't seen any sort of hints or ideas as to why this would be in the game, but regardless, when they started talking about interior customization, they showed this particular dashboard. Another thing to notice is that it looks like, when you look in the mirror, it looks like the bed actually sticks out fairly far, and it almost seems like, kind of from the way I perceive it anyway, by looking at it, it seems as though it would be longer than the bed on a normal Apache. The only reason why I say that is because when you look at it, it just has a little bit more of a long bed feel to it, but at the time, I sort of wrote that off in my head as like, it's probably just a weird perspective thing, but now it turns out that that's not actually the case. Now, according to EdgeRunner Cold, he was able to access this truck because of the modders Nextej and Osiris Senpai digging into the game's files and apparently discovering that the Chevrolet Apache 6x6 is supposed to be part of Update 8.0, which is a little bit further down the road, obviously, because as we speak right now, Update 7.0 hasn't quite dropped yet on consoles. It's supposed to drop within the next week or so, but they haven't given us an exact date on that yet. But again, this was apparently discovered through mining into the data of the game and the data around, like, surrounding the next update, and apparently they found it listed almost as a mod. It's very, very weird, and when I first saw it, I was kind of in disbelief. I was like, I don't know how legit that seems. But when you go back and cross-reference the dashboard in EdgeRunner Cold's video with the dashboard in the Phase 1 trailer, you start to go, okay, wait a minute, that actually kind of makes sense now. Now, as he was going through the customization options for this truck, it seemed as though it had the same engine options, or at least relatively similar engine options, to the Chevrolet CK1500, which granted him a power-to-weight rating of B+, using the AAT 8V52 custom engine, which, again, was one of the engines that we saw in the CK1500. Gearbox-wise, the truck seems to have stock, freeway, and SnowRunner options, and only one option for suspension height. As far as tires go, it seems as though the truck will only have the option of 44-inch tires. However, you have tire compounds that fall under the categories of all-terrain, off-road, mud, and chained as well. Now, where it starts to get really, really interesting is when he begins scrolling through the front and rear bumper options, and you notice the fact that there is a Oklahoma license plate available with some of the bumper options. Now, that's a very, very interesting touch, and could it be a little bit foreshadowy? Very, very possibly. However, I did a little bit of digging sort of outside of the SnowRunner space and came across some pictures of a Chevrolet Apache 6x6 that were not from, basically they were not from anything that had to do really much with Oklahoma. Now, searching around for a Chevy Apache 6x6 on the internet doesn't really get you very far until you run into an article back from 2013 where apparently there was a truck for sale on eBay. Bear with me here. There was a 6x6 Chevy Apache for sale on eBay that was basically a stretched Apache body dropped on top of an M135 6x6 chassis that ended up being for sale in Canada. So is this a bit of a nod to the upcoming Canada maps in the actual game itself? Or is it completely unrelated whatsoever and we should just focus on the Oklahoma tag? I don't know, but there's a lot of different things going on here, and it seemed as though that whole Canada tie-in was a little bit too obvious to ignore, but at the same time, that could just be me speculating, and nothing actually may come of that. So I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below on, 1, if you're excited about this truck, 2, if you think this truck belongs in the game in this configuration, and 3, what engine options you personally believe it should have, because I feel as though it would be really nice to have something a little bit more powerful than the 5.2 Custom. Don't get me wrong, I like the 5.2 Custom. I think the 5.2 Custom is a fine engine, but I do think it would be really nice to have something with a little bit more grunt and a little bit more power. But again, that could potentially throw the truck out of balance with the rest of the vehicles in the game. After all, I'm not a developer. I'm not testing this truck. They are, so they're the ones that are balancing it. But regardless, I'm sure once it actually releases into the game, I'm sure once the modding community gets their hands on it, they'll go to town with different engines. But to be fair, the developers also recently kind of made an announcement about modding DLC trucks and how it wasn't exactly the most okay thing to do, and it kind of went by a case-by-case basis. So that's another thing that I don't know if this truck will be a truck you'll be allowed to mod, or if it's something where if you mod it, it'll get taken down. But that's another thing that we have to look at in the future. Now, as EdgeRunner Cold proceeded to test the truck, one of the things that he noticed was it was very, very stable. It didn't really want to roll over all the time, but when he took it into the mud, it performed really, really well until he got it into the very deep stuff, and once he got it into the very deep stuff, it started sinking, which, to be fair, with a tire that size, like with a tire the size that that truck comes with, that's to be expected, and I think that that's kind of one of those things where, not every truck is going to be a, mud-conquering beast, and it's fairly realistic for a truck to reach a point in mud where it can't go any further. Even with a truck that's got a 40, a 42, a 44, there will be levels of mud that a truck with a 44 can't make it through, which is why mud trucks exist, and they have, tires that are absolutely enormous and, 1,500 horsepower, but that's not exactly what the default trucks in SnowRunner are about. The default trucks in SnowRunner are more about the trucks that you would find out in the wilderness, out in the backwoods, and in areas where you might not have all that much to work with, but you make it through the wilderness and you make it through the terrain anyway with what you've got. So, again, I would love to know your thoughts in the comment section down below on how you are feeling about this truck coming to the game, how you are feeling about the other vehicles that have come to the game thus far, and what you personally want to see come to SnowRunner. I know there are a lot of trucks out there, but I would love to know in the comments down below what trucks you guys think would make the game complete from the perspective of, being a built-in truck. Not necessarily a modded truck, but a truck that if it was built into the game, if it was one of the stock trucks, that you would use it all the time. Now, personally, for me, that would absolutely be either a first-gen or second-gen Dodge Ram. I think that would really line up well with the game. Even maybe an older Jeep CJ, potentially a CJ7, I think that would really line up well with the game as well. Now, of course, we are talking scout vehicles here, and if you get out of the realm of scouts and you get into the realm of more heavy-duty stuff, that opens you up to a ton more options. And I will say, my only small gripe that I have with this is I would like to potentially see more heavy-duty trucks from the developers being focused on for future updates. And don't get me wrong, I love the heavy-duty truck options that we have right now, but I would really love to see more heavy-duty trucks come into the game moving forward into the future phases and into the future updates. But that's gonna do it for this video, guys. Hope y'all enjoyed. Leave your thoughts and opinions in the comments, subscribe if you liked it, and hit that like button, and I'll see you guys next time.